So that was a nice ceremony.
Yes, it was. I had a very good time at Government House today.
Yeah, so he received an award, and what's the name of the award?
It's the 2019 Volunteer Award for Impact.
Yeah, and you're not the only one that won. There was like 20 different awardees.
There were, in the category of impact, there were 5 people that were
Yeah.
awarded in that one, and then there were several other categories as well.
And it was a short ceremony. I was afraid all of them should give a speech, but they didn't. But it was so many volunteers, so much positivity in that room, and it really is hope for mankind.
It was great to hear about everyone's achievements for the Victorian community.
Yeah. And he's not my favorite. I'm a farmer, so my favorite was this Blazed Aid Bonip. They came 500 strong men to rebuild farmers' fences. I think you should do that instead. Come to Norway and build my fences.
Well, they got 500 volunteers
Yeah.
literally in a week, and that's a magnificent achievement to help with those affected by the fires.
Yeah, but it'll be
Very easy work if you like hard work.
Yeah. So I can read what it says about Stephen Unthank. It says here, and this is not from me, this is from the Premier of Victoria.
That's
It
correct,
says,
yes.
Stephen Unthank, as a volunteer bush lawyer, counselor, mediator and researcher, Stephen holds institutions accountable for protecting children. In 2008, Stephen commenced action in the Magistrates Court in Victoria to force organizations to comply with working with children check laws. Since then, he has continued to work with families and the government to strengthen child protection laws, and is now sought after internationally as an expert on institutional culture that adversely affect child safety. Thanks to Stevens' work, more than 150 small organizations and 2,000 volunteers working with children in the community now comply with working with children check requirements. So that's a lot of achievements.
There's a few
And
there,
you got
yes.
a pin.
Yes, I did along with the ceremonial plaque, I got a pin. It's sterling silver, gold plated, so it was
Yeah.
nice to receive that.
So obviously you didn't do it for the money. Could I just get what's a bush lawyer? Because you're not a lawyer.
No, I'm not a qualified lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't even possess a law degree. I sort of cringed when I heard the governor's representative read that out.
So
in
what does
Government
bush
House.
lawyer mean?
In Australia, it refers to someone who does the work of a lawyer, but they're not qualified.
Yeah.
We have another
And
term.
not getting paid for it.
They're definitely
That's
not
very
getting paid.
important.
In most
That would be a crime.
Yes, in many cases they can be a self-represented litigant that's taken their own case on, and it will benefit many other people, or they can assist their family.
Okay. So here it says, in 2008, Stephen commenced action in the Magistrates Court in Victoria to force organizations to comply with working with children check laws.
Yes, that's 11 years ago. In 2008, I approached the Magistrates Court about non-compliance and
Yeah.
asked them what needed to be done to satisfy the requirements under law to take action. I'd already spoken to the police. It wasn't until 2011 that the Chief Magistrate of Victoria Magistrates Court gave me leave and consent to launch a private criminal prosecution.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of... And now I got a lot of angry messages that when I came to Australia, that watch out for Stephen, he's a criminal and he has published a lot of letters without consent from the Australian Royal Commission. I just think, I stay out of the drama, but I think it's fair to hear both sides of the story. So what about these 44 stories?
Well, the first point you mentioned, being a criminal, no, I'm not
Yeah.
a criminal. I'm not under investigation.
You're not under investigation.
I've never been contacted by a law enforcement agency to notify me of any investigation. I've read allegations on social media that I'm under investigation. I have no knowledge of those
And the fact that you
investigations.
received this award, I hope that can just put those rumors to death.
It'll be a part of it, yes.
Yeah, but you're still not off the hook. Explain why you put on these stories without consent.
Well, firstly, there was consent given, but perhaps there needs to be a little bit of explanation for that. Last year in October, on the saysorry.org website, I published 44 stories from child abuse victims within the Jehovah's Witness religion.
That's from the Australian Royal Commission.
That's from the Australian Royal Commission.
Okay.
The stories were provided to me by the Australian Child Abuse Royal Commission.
Okay.
In December 15, 2017, they sent me a letter that contained a USB stick with 4,000 stories from child abuse victims across Australia, along with a copyright license to republish every single story in any medium I like, even to print them in book or publish them online.
So that's something basically everyone could do, or?
Everybody could do that, but as I had a part in the Royal Commission, behind the scenes assisting them, they gave me a full copy of all their findings, everything onto one database searchable file, which has been very good. What I was able to do was just type in the words Jehovah's Witnesses, and 44 stories appeared. Now, those stories were all anonymised. The victims had been de-identified, but the origins of them, they all came from private sessions where people had met with a commissioner or assistant commissioner and told their story. Every single person was asked if they give their explicit consent for their stories to be published and retold. Okay. The Royal Commission in Volume 5, Private Sessions, has copies of the letters that were sent out informing of what would take place and the consents that were obtained. They also had a section in the appendix called Narratives. Okay. How they had a team of narrators that went through the transcript of each private session, not case studies, but private sessions, rewrote the story, changed the person's name so they could not be identified, and then published them. So those 44 stories on my website are also on the Royal Commission's website. Okay.
So, according your side of the story would be that they gave permission to publish it to the Australian Royal Commission. Absolutely. And the Australian Royal Commission had the authority to give them to you.
Absolutely.
And maybe to newspapers too.
Everybody. The license was under the Creative Commons license. Okay. It cannot be revoked. You can use it for any reason, but there was a few provisos that you must or must not do. Okay. You must state it came from the Royal Commission. Okay. And that's what I did on the introduction page to the stories. Also, you must not change a single word or punctuation from the story unless you have a disclaimer that that part of the story has been changed. Okay. And so each story was republished truthfully and accurately. I'm aware that there's been allegations that the stories have been doctored. Those are false allegations.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read these stories. So I just got a lot of angry messages. And like I say, if there's a crime, call the police. Don't call the Norwegian goat farmer. I'm not Australian police. I just know this guy and he's nice to me. I don't agree with everything you do.
Some of the... exactly. Well, I mean, that can work with everybody in the world. Not everybody agrees with what everybody else does.
I think you could have done a better job explaining what you just explained to me to the rest of the world.
Well, I hoped that the introduction was an explanation that addressed that. It's quite interesting that until this week, and when I caught up with you earlier this week, not one single person since the stories were published has contacted me or asked me about any information about where I got them or how I was able to do that. Some of the narratives that were published there were from people that I actually knew. And the Royal Commission wrote that the reason for publishing those stories with the full consent of each person was because many people have been silenced. And they were not going to be silenced anymore. We needed a permanent record, and that's what the Royal Commission wrote in Volume 5. They want a permanent record of what people suffered, and in my situation, because it dealt with the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was willing to publish that permanent record. And I'm proud to have done that.
Okay, that's really good. Are you in a hurry? You're in a hurry. Okay. So,
Good cameraman.
yeah.
Time sensitive.
Yeah.
Time sticky.
We had to use a cameraman because my arms is not long enough to
it's
hold
fine,
it.
it's fine. It's
Yeah.
I have to start my shift soon, so.
Don't worry,
yeah.
that bit will be edited
But
out.
then we'll just end this interview here and now, and I would like to congratulate you, my friend, and my
Thank you,
fellow
Jonas.
XJW with this award, and see you in paradise.